Iguodala to Curry, back to Iguodala, up for the layup. Oh, blocked by James.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the very first mock draft Monday of the 2024 NBA draft season. My name is John Drummond, aka Top Tier Analyst, and this is at the Buzzer Sports. And we're just going to be doing a quick little mock draft of the 2024 NBA draft. I'm going to be doing this every week. Mock draft Monday. We're going to be doing it every single week. Now, there has been a lot of rumors of the 2024 NBA draft being weak. You know, there's been a lot of people saying that they wouldn't trade a Derek White or a Lou Dort for the first pick in the draft. Now, I don't like when people say that this draft is weak. I don't like it at all, because whether these guys end up being all-stars or whether these guys end up being role players, you're not going to be complaining when 3, 4, 5 years down the line, one of these guys is having a PJ Washington type playoff run for your team, or one of these guys end up being a Derek White for your team. I really don't like it. I really don't like it, and it shouldn't be, because when we talk about people like Giannis Antetokounmpo, picked outside of the lottery, 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, multiple-time All-Star, Finals MVP, and an MVP and a champion. Nikola Jokic, picked during a Taco Bell commercial, 3-time MVP, 1-time champion, 1-time Finals MVP. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, picked at the bottom of the first round and was now an MVP runner-up and most likely going to be a back-to-back All-NBA first-team type of talent. Or in the draft that Luka Doncic and Trae Young were picked, Marvin Bagley and DeAndre Ayton were picked before them. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that it was a bad pick. At the time, those were really good picks because DeAndre Ayton was the consensus number one pick in the draft. But now, years down the line, Marvin Bagley is struggling to get a starting spot, and DeAndre Ayton has been on two different teams. So we can never really tell what these guys are going to end up being. Who knows? The first prospect or second prospect off the board could end up being a bust, or they can end up being the greatest player of all time. Nobody really knows. So that's why I don't like when people try and be like, oh, this is a bad draft, or this is not going to be a good draft. We do not know how this draft is going to end up, and we're not going to know how this draft is going to end up until maybe 5 or 6 years down the line. So starting out, we got the Atlanta Hawks. I kind of like what the Atlanta Hawks have done here, or at least I like where they could be headed with this first pick in the draft. Obviously, you have Trae Young, you have DeJounte Murray. I don't think both of them are going to be starting the season with the Atlanta Hawks. I think DeJounte Murray is going to be the odd man out. I'm going to go with Alex Sarr here. One thing I want to talk about is Alex Sarr is a type of player that has a lot of offensive upside, hasn't really hit that upside yet. He's a very good defender. He's quick on his feet. He can guard the pick and roll. He can finish inside. He could be a very great play finisher. And I think having the playmaker in Trae Young and the creating that Trae Young can do to where he can get Alex Sarr the ball, I think that is going to further his progression a lot. So I think you bring in Alex Sarr and you keep Trae Young to really further push Alex Sarr than maybe what a lot of people think he can be. So I'm going to go with Alex Sarr first. That is going to be my pick with the first pick in the draft. Now, with the Washington Wizards, I think the Washington Wizards are the only team in this draft to where they don't really have a guy. They don't really have a guy. Like the Atlanta Hawks have Trae Young. The Houston Rockets have Sengun and Jalen Green. The Spurs have Wemby. The Pistons have Cade. The Hornets have LaMelo and Brandon Miller. They don't really have their guy. And I don't really necessarily think that they should go out and look for their guy just now. I think you draft what your team needs. I think you draft what your team needs. And when we look at guys like Kyle Kuzma, guys like Jordan Poole, you're going to want to get a point guard to get those guys going. You're going to want to get a point guard to get those guys going. Jordan Poole can move off ball. Kyle Kuzma can move off ball. These guys are floor spacers. I really like Nikola Topic. He is a 6'7" guard who is very good at getting the ball to his guys. He's a very good playmaker. I really see him as a Lonzo Ball type of player to where he's 6'7". I can see him being good on the defensive end. And maybe his first season he averages about 9 to 11 points, maybe 5 rebounds and 5 assists. I don't hate that. I don't hate that for Nikola Topic. Your guy does not have to be in this draft. You do not have to hit the home run just yet. Mind you, this is the first year of rebuilding. You don't even have a guy yet. You just got rid of Bradley Beal, which was very good, and I'm happy that they got off that contract because I did not think they were going to be able to. So I'm going to draft Nikola Topic here. I think he is the best pickup available for the Washington Wizards. Like I said, you don't need the guy yet. Now, for the Houston Rockets, as I said, they have their guys. They have Jalen Green. They have Alperen Sengun. You also have guys like Amen Thompson and what is his name? I'm forgetting his name. Cam Whitmore. You also have Tari Eason and Jabari Smith Jr. You have as much young talent as you could really use. So this could be a pick that could end up being traded. I don't hate it. I don't hate the idea of trading this pick, thinking that you were a few games away from being a play-in team. You should get another jump for Alperen Sengun. Who knows? Jalen Green might be able to play off of him. I don't hate them trading this pick to try and bring in a guy like Mikal Bridges. I don't hate it. Don't hate it at all. But when we have a guy like Zachary Risacher or Zachary Risacher, I don't know how to say it yet. I'm going to learn. But I think Zachary Risacher could be the perfect wing to sit in the corner or sit in the post. Not sit in the post, sit in the corner or sit in the wings to hit an open jump shot. I think Alperen Sengun is the playmaker that can really get Risacher the ball, because we know he's a catch-to-shoot guy. We know that the potential is there to become an on-ball scorer or to put the ball on the floor and become an on-ball scorer. But right now, he is a catch-and-shoot guy. Sitting at 6'10", it's going to be very hard to block that shot. Like, I think Zachary Risacher can be the Michael Porter for Alperen Sengun, as how Michael Porter is to Nikola Jokic. Not saying those two can be that good, but I'm saying Risacher could be the one for Alperen Sengun as this Michael Porter Jr. is to Nikola Jokic. So I'm going to be going Zachary Risacher. I don't hate a Reed Sheppard pickup here, because Reed Sheppard is basically the same thing. You know, a guy that can shoot the ball very well. He shot around 53% this year. And then he can also put the ball on the floor better than Zachary Risacher can. You know, it's going to be very hard to close out on Reed Sheppard, because if you are late on the closeout, he's going to burn you from three. If you're too aggressive on the closeout, he can drive in and make that mid-range shot, or he can make the floater from 15 feet, or he can distribute to Alperen Sengun or a cutting Amen Thompson. So I really like what position the Rockets are in. I'm going to be taking Risacher here. Now, for the San Antonio Spurs, they lucked out to get the 4th pick. They also get the 8th pick because the Toronto Raptors could not make it into the top 6. So I know a lot of people are going to say they're going to draft Rob Dillingham. I think Rob Dillingham could be there at 8. I'm more intrigued by Ron Holland. For the simple fact that he is the defender that the San Antonio Spurs could use. Because when Victor Wembanyama is not on the court, this is not a good defense whatsoever. Even when he's on the court, he doesn't bring this defense up a lot. So I think bringing in a guy like Ron Holland to where you can get him at 4 and then get offense with Robert Dillingham at 8, I think you're in a great position. Ron Holland is a wing who's 6'7". He can guard some 4s. He can switch on to 1s. I think Ron Holland is going to be that versatile defender that the Spurs really need. You can run him at the 4. You can run him at the 3. I think Ron Holland is the selection here for the San Antonio Spurs. Definitely think he's the selection for the San Antonio Spurs. Now, with the Detroit Pistons, a lot of people are like, I'm sorry, Detroit. You guys should have got the 1st pick in the draft. You guys should have gotten this, gotten that. No, the Pistons have the foundation. They have the foundation. You have Cade Cunningham. You have Ausar Thompson. You have Jalen Duren. That is the potential. Those 3 right there, that is the potential to be a very good defensive team years down the line. Jalen Duren could be an excellent rim protector. Ausar Thompson can guard 1 through 4. I don't hate the fact that they got the 5th pick. They need a glue guy. A glue guy who's going to come in, make the job easier for Cade Cunningham, make the job easier for Ausar Thompson, because there's a lot of pressure on him to be able to stretch the floor. I think Reed Sheppard is the pick here. He can take some ball handling. He can take some ball handling responsibilities off of Cade Cunningham. Jaden Ivey either gets moved to the bench, and he can be the playmaker for the Pistons off the bench, and Reed Sheppard can step right next to Cade Cunningham and fit perfectly. Reed Sheppard is one of those players where I think he fits perfectly for all 30 teams in the NBA. So you can't get mad with this pick right here. You cannot get mad with Reed Sheppard right here. And now, number 6, with the Charlotte Hornets. They obviously knocked it out of the park with Brandon Miller. They obviously knocked it out of the park there. So I'm thinking more of another guy. Ron Holland would have been on my list of guys to pick up. I do not hate Matas Buzelis. Now, a lot of people, I think he shot 29% from three this year, which is not amazing, but I think the adjustment from playing high school ball to going to the G League and playing NBA ready type of players, I think that adjustment has really hit him. Now, I don't think that adjustment is going to be as hard for him as it will be for other players like a Stephon Castle or Cody Williams or Jacoby Walter when it comes to making that shot. I think he's going to have a foot in the door already more than a guy like Stephon Castle or Cody Williams. No shots to them, but I'm just saying I think playing for the Ignite really gave him a foot in the door when it came to shooting. So if he was going to have his slump, it's good to have it now. And I know there was a lot of people that said, if he knocks down that jump shot consistently, this is the consensus number one pick in the draft. So you don't want to pass up on Matas. So I like LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Matas Buzelis. You still got Marvin Williams. You got guys like Miles Bridges, even though I think this is a contract year for him, or I think this was a contract year for him. He's going to be heading into free agency. But I really like what you guys were able to do this season, especially with Brandon Miller. You're going to want LaMelo Ball to get healthy, but so far, doing pretty well. I'm going to take Matas Buzelis right here with the 6th pick. Now, for the Portland Trailblazers, I don't know what's really going on with the Portland Trailblazers. Obviously, you have Jeremy Grant, you have DeAndre Ayton, you have Anthony Simons. I think Malcolm Brogdon is gone this offseason. You have Scoot Henderson, you have Shaedon Sharpe, you have Chris Murray. You're really waiting for one of these young guys to really blossom. Because you have so many. You have Shaedon Sharpe. You have Scoot Henderson. You have Anthony Simons. You are waiting for one of these guys to take the team. Basically, like take the leading job. You want it to be Scoot Henderson since that was the 3rd pick in the draft. He had some good runs in March and April. But you're really waiting for there to be that one person that is the clear-cut head and shoulders over the rest of the team. So I don't know. I think they draft for upside here. I really like Cody Williams. He has the potential to be a great on-ball offensive player. He has great potential to be an off-ball shooter. He has great potential to be a defender. But it's not going to take the first year. And one thing I like about the Portland Trailblazers, they have so much young talent that all the eyes aren't going to be on him. They're going to see what Anthony Simons can do. A lot of people are going to tune in for Scoot's 2nd year. Cody Williams can go here and really progress in silence, and I love that pick for them. So Cody Williams is going to be going to the Portland Trailblazers at number 7. So with pick number 8, like I said earlier, the Spurs are going to be going to grab Rob Dillingham. I'm not going to explain it much. I didn't think any other team past the San Antonio Spurs were going to be taking a point guard, with the Pistons with Cade, the Hornets with LaMelo Ball, and then the Trailblazers with Scoot, Anthony, Shaedon. Rob Dillingham is the pick here. So now you have offense and defense. You go get a guy in Ron Holland who's probably 1A best defender in the draft, or best perimeter defender in the draft. Probably with a guy like Stephon Castle, who you can still pick. But since you picked up the defense with Ron Holland with the 4th pick, I think Rob Dillingham is perfect for all offense at 8. So with the 9th pick, the Memphis Grizzlies, who have talked about trading this pick for a more NBA-ready type of guy, I think they really go all in on the double big lineup. Now, Jaren Jackson Jr., former Defensive Player of the Year, Marcus Smart, former Defensive Player of the Year. I don't think Jaren Jackson, or I don't think the Memphis Grizzlies are big enough to guard the Los Angeles Lakers, to guard the Minnesota Timberwolves, to guard the Sacramento Kings, or to guard the Denver Nuggets. They're going to want to get a guy like Donovan Clingan, who is 7'2", 280 pounds, can really negate trying for other offensive players to try and put a shoulder in his chest due to his weight and how big he actually is. I know a lot of people in the NBA, you're a shot blocker, we're going to put a shoulder in your chest, we're going to create space so you can't block the shot. It's not necessarily what you can do with Donovan Clingan. He's a little slow on his feet, in my opinion. He does pretty good guarding the pick and roll. He is a good playmaker. I don't think that's going to be too useful. His first few seasons in the NBA, I think, is going to take some time for him to really become that playmaker that I think he can be. But I love this pick for Memphis. They get an absolute steal with Donovan Clingan. And now their starting lineup next year is John Morant, Desmond Bane, Vince Williams, Jaren Jackson, and Donovan Clingan. This year is setting up the Memphis Grizzlies perfectly. Now, number 10 for the Utah Jazz, I'm going to take Stephon Castle. Now, he has been going on the record saying that he is a point guard. He does not want to play the two. But I think with him being able to come into UConn last year, switch his position to the two, and really accept the role of, I'm going to be an on-ball defender, I'm going to be a pest on defense, and I'm going to score when I can. I think that shows a lot of maturity from him, and I think he's going to be able to do that at the higher level. Now, I think him and Keontae George can switch out on who is the primary ball handler, so I'm not sitting here saying that Stephon Castle is not going to get the chance at all, but I think putting him next to Keontae George and then having Lauri Markkanen and Walker Kessler, you're really building a good defense up there in Utah, so I like that pick. Now, with the Chicago Bulls, you have Zach LaVine, you have DeMar DeRozan, you have Nikola Vucevic, you have Lonzo Ball. These are guys who are win-now type of players, and you are not a win-now team. You are not a win-now team. Zach LaVine, DeMar DeRozan, and Nikola Vucevic, these guys are number threes. I think DeMar DeRozan and Zach LaVine are number threes on championship teams. I think Nikola Vucevic is a number three on a fourth or fifth seed in either conference. So you're never going to be really bad to luck into the number one pick, and you're never going to be really good enough to make a run in the playoffs, which is probably the worst position to be in the NBA. But I'm from Chicago, been to a lot of Chicago Bulls games. They don't sell out. I mean, they don't do bad. We do great in ticket sales. We always come out and show love to our team. So I think you draft with upside here. And I think I really like Tajon Salaun. I think I'm saying his name correctly, but this is a 6'10 guy who can shoot the ball, very athletic, very energetic. I think he has probably the most upside in this draft, in my opinion. The way he's able to space the floor, the effort he shows on defense, the upside he shows on defense. I think he could be a very good player for a very long time for the Chicago Bulls. Like I said, you draft for upside here, especially since they have put out that they have no real plans on letting go of DeMar DeRozan or letting go of Zach LaVine or letting go of Nikola Vucevic. They still believe that they can contend. So you go get a guy that has very good upside, and you never know if he ends up turning into something and we're like, okay, we have a guy and now we should trade Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan to really build that future around him. Who knows? Now, with the 12th pick, I'm going to have the Oklahoma City Thunder take Dalton Knecht. Now, this is an older prospect. I think he's 22 years old. He's a great shooter out of Tennessee. I think with the way Josh Giddey has played and Gordon Hayward has played, I think Dalton Knecht is going to be that guy to come in off the bench and really become that spark of energy that Gordon Hayward could not be. He's older. They know they're going to be back in the playoffs next year. They're going to bring in a 22-year-old veteran college player, have him come in, make some shots, play some solid defense. I love this pick for the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, with the 13th pick for the Sacramento Kings, I'm going to go down a little bit. I'm going to go take Jared McCain. Now, they're probably going to lose Malik Monk. In free agency this year. You're going to want to bring in a guy that can fill his shoes. I don't think he can necessarily fill his shoes immediately, but Malik Monk is a type of guy that was a Sixth Man of the Year candidate. And I think Jared McCain's a great shooter. I think he's a great on-ball player. And I think he's going to have a lot of time to progress on the bench with De'Aaron Fox being his mentor and having an offensive guy in Domantas Sabonis and Keegan Murray who's going to be taking a lot of pressure off of him offensively. I love that pick for Sacramento. And now with my last pick of the 2024 lottery mock draft, I have the Portland Trailblazers going Jacoby Walter. Jacoby Walter, this is a guy who has it on a string. He can shoot. And his off-ball game is amazing. I think with Scoot Henderson, Anthony Simon, Shaedon Sharpe, you're going to want to figure out this guard situation pretty soon. And this wing situation pretty soon. But bringing in a guy like Jacoby Walter, I think he's going to be a scoring threat. I really have a Chris Middleton comparison for him, and I love this pick for them. Anyway, that is my draft. I mean, with the first pick, we got Alex Sarr, then Nikola Topic, Risacher, Ron Holland, Reed Sheppard, Montas Buzelis, Cody Williams, Rob Dillingham, Donovan Clingan, Stephon Castle, Tajon Salaun, Dalton Knecht, Jared McCain, and Jacoby Walter. That is my mock draft for the 2024 NBA draft, at least the lottery. I appreciate everybody who watched. If you guys have anything you guys want to say about the draft, any constructive criticism, make sure you drop it in the comments. And if you guys like this type of content, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And I'm out. Peace.